When the sun has set on a Friday night, bringing peace into your home, families will gather all around singing Shabbat, Shalom. Everybody sing Shalom, Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Is a gift from God, so put a smile upon your face. He's got the whole world in his hands, so obey his commands and you will know peace. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom, shalom.
Adama v'shamayim Chom ha'esh tzlil ha'mayim Ani margish zah begufi Meruchi v'nishmati. Love the earth, love the sky, heat of fire, drop of water. I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey, 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 Adama v'shamayim Chom ha'esh tzlil ha'mayim Ani margish begufi Meruchi v'nishmati. Love the earth, love the sky, heat of fire, drop of water. I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey, 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 Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm here at the beach because I thought it would be a wonderful thing to welcome Shabbat as the sun literally sets here above the horizon, on the horizon. And I'm here, of course, teleconferencing with my wonderful colleague and friend, Rabbi Ron Goldberg. How are you, Rabbi Ron?
I am well. I am well. I am here in scenic Reseda, California, watching you enjoying the beautiful beach here in the Pacific Ocean.
All right. I see your point. Next time we'll switch. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. That sounds great. Well, this week's Torah portion is called Tol'dot, and it is a really juicy kind of classic story in a way, but with biblical proportions. What you have is you have the second and third generations of the Jewish people. You have Isaac and Rebekah who have given birth to twins. And these twins grow up to be sibling rivals not seen since the likes of Cain and Abel. I mean, these boys could not be more different from each other. You've got Jacob, who is, let's say, a quintessential student and gentleman, a mensch, a good person, kind, gentle. And you have Esau, who's characterized as a hunter. Hunting would later be forbidden in Judaism because hunting is associated with taking a life of an animal into a sport and for fun. And that was never going to fly as a Jewish value. So you've got these two very different people, and there's favoritism going on. You've got Jacob, who favors the hunter, Esau, and you've got Rebekah, who favors the gentler soul of Jacob. And according to Jewish tradition at that time, the older sibling, even though they're twins and it's only by a few minutes, but the older sibling Esau would inherit everything. Whether that would mean inherit the leadership of the Jewish people or inherit the financial inheritance or both, that was what was going to happen. And so Rebekah encourages Jacob to trick his own brother and father into getting the birthright instead. Rabbi Ron, what is your favorite or what do you consider to be the most compelling aspect of the Parashat Tol'dot?
There's a lot of them, but let's go with this one I kind of find fascinating being a parent myself. The idea of favoritism, parental favoritism. So my son would ask me, my daughter would ask me, Dad, who do you love more? So I'd say to my son, I love you because you're my son and you're my oldest, and I love my daughter because she's my daughter and my youngest. But children, they compete for their parents' affection, and they want to see who do mom and dad love more. If you're of my age, you remember the Smothers Brothers. And what was the running joke with Tommy and Dick Smothers? Mom always loved you more. And it matters. It matters to them, that sense that one parent favors one over the other. And I think as parents, don't we struggle with that to treat all of our children equally?
You know, it's so interesting because it does raise the question, and we can all look at this story from the point of view of parenting, but we can also look at the story from the point of view of our own childhood. And every resident of the Los Angeles Jewish home was once a child. And while there are some people who were only children, they were the only child in the house, most of our residents had siblings and can look back and say, well, maybe this one was favored or that one was favored. But the question that's raised is, and you kind of hint at it, is sibling rivalry a byproduct of parental favoritism, or is sibling rivalry its own animal? That is to say, if there had never been any parents around, if Jacob and Esau were, let's say, plopped on a deserted island, would they still be rivalrous? Would they still be competitive? What do you think?
Oh, I think they absolutely would. I think that in our humanity, I think there's a little bit of a nature to compete. So there's that positive competition, and there's the negative competitions. The positive competition, I like sports. I was a marathon runner. I love competing. Okay, that's fun. I'm a Dodger fan. I like it when the Dodgers win, and I mourn a little bit when they lose. That's good competition. But if I'm playing a sport, do I need to cheat to win? That's where I've crossed the line, and that's where that rivalry, I think, has problems. You have to, like all things, what are the limits? What are the proportions that go with it? So, yeah, I think that rivalry, that competition is part of our human makeup. But I think our daily challenge is to find the limit to it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because the book of I agree, by the way, the book of Genesis is almost, I don't want to say it's obsessed with, but it's trying to delve deeply into these themes that keep returning. It's almost a through line, like a melody of these families that are so dysfunctional. And I don't know whether to compare the book of Genesis, the first book of the Torah, to Shakespeare or to a soap opera, but it's just amazing. Each generation seems to have rivalry, and each generation seems to have parental favoritism, and it's like nobody learns the lesson, and your heart breaks. And I know that for some of our residents who have children that don't get along, it's a very painful thing to watch. You know, what do we want more than anything if we have more than one child? We want our children to be friends. And it is so painful when our children don't get along, or God forbid, our grandchildren?
So you're the daughter of Israelis. I'm married to an Israeli, so you know the expression "gam v'gam." So you asked, is it Shakespeare or is it a soap opera? And I think it's elements of both. You know, they both play out in that same way. The whole book of Genesis is loving couples who struggle with parenting. I would put that out there. Does Abraham love Sarah? Absolutely. You know, Isaac and Rebecca? Absolutely. Ultimately, it's going to be Jacob and Leah? Absolutely. But they struggle with how to be a parent. And I think, you know, that's one of those things, like as children, we observe our parents. And what's the thing, you know, your mother curses you with, I hope you have children just like you. Oh,
right.
Now that makes sense to me.
Right. And you know, it's something that we want to overcome. We want to be perfect parents. We want to have done the exact right job, you know, and yet we make mistakes. And sometimes, you know, our children can misunderstand what our mistakes may mean, when really we hope for all of our children to be healthy and happy. I one time asked our residents, we were studying this very Torah portion. I asked our residents, I said, be honest, just in this quiet, the privacy of this room, did you favor any of your children? And some of them said something really interesting. They kind of had this agreement that I didn't start out favoring them, but I'll be honest, Rabbi, sometimes some of my children are nicer to me than other children. Some of my children are more caring. Some of my children call and they're loving, and others fight with me and argue with me all the time. And so it's not that I favor them, but sometimes it's easier to get along with one or the other. And the other thing I wanted to point out is we yearn for reconciliation. And one of the most powerful moments in the Torah is that years later, because, you know, Jacob and Esau are so threatening to each other that Esau realizes, I have to run away from home or my own brother might kill me. But years and years later, decades later, they have a new encounter as men, as adult men, both successful, both mature. And when they have that encounter, they literally fall on top of each other, hugging and kissing. And the Torah is so enthralled with this moment that there's literally a dot above each of the Hebrew letters on just that word, Vayeshakehu, and he kissed him. Because of that beauty of watching, and one could imagine it would make a gorgeous film, watching two brothers, one of whom threatened to kill the other, hug and kiss each other because they missed each other so much. Any last thoughts, Rabbi Ron, about the Torah portion? Yeah, actually, just building on what you were just saying. So when Mashiach comes, we're told the first thing that Mashiach, he or she, is going to do is reconcile who? Parents and children. And I think that the more, as I said, when I was younger and I didn't have my own children, I didn't get that. But now that I've raised my children and I've become a grandparent, I'm still wrestling with that concept. Yes. No, I'm still wrestling with that concept. I understand it so much differently, and it makes perfect sense to me that I take comfort. This is a little off the path, but I take comfort in the fact that just as the matriarchs and patriarchs had their struggle with parenting, it lets me know that it's okay that I struggle a bit also, and that and I think that's normal. And you know, the thing about all these legends tied to when the Mashiach comes, what it really is being hinted at is, are we really supposed to wait for the Mashiach? Are we supposed to wait for the Messiah? Or should we do all that we can, right, to reconcile relationships? And by the way, not only reconcile relationships with our children and strengthen relationships with our children, but for some of us, as we've discussed before, it's reconciling relationships with our own parents, even though they're not around anymore. And sometimes it means reconciling the memory of our loved one. Listen, I don't want to miss the sunset. The whole reason that I'm here is to catch Shabbat as it's coming. So I want to be quiet for just a moment and let you take a look at the beautiful, I'm getting out of the way so you can look at the beautiful, beautiful ocean. And you can see the yellow of the sun and the orange above the clouds and below. It's a little bit foggy today. But I think that as the sun really sets, we're going to see a little bit of more coloring up above. Rabbi Ron, what time is it? Because I know sunset is soon.
We're coming up on 36 past the hour.
36. Okay, so I think the sun sets in about 9 minutes. So what's going to be great is let's make the blessings. And I think that just as we finish the blessings, we're going to have the sun setting. So I know that Rabbi Ron has candlesticks. I don't have candlesticks here at the water. And so Rabbi Ron, you're going to go ahead and lead us in the blessing, right?
Right. Let me just get them set up. Here we go. Let there be light. You know, the earliest Jewish memory most people have is what? Is the candles being lit by their mother. Tonight, see if I can remember this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. V'melech malachei hamlochim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. V'melech malachei hamlochim hakadosh baruch hu. Sheikhem leshalom malachei hashalom Malachei Elyon, V'melech Malachei Hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Ron and I would love to offer you, each and every one of you, a blessing on this Shabbat. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai guard and protect you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'choneka.
May Adonai turn his face to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May Adonai deal with you graciously, and most of all, grant us all the blessings of peace.
Can you hear Ratzon? May it be God's will. Amen.
Amen.
Rabbi Ron, you have a Kiddush cup handy?
I do.
All right. Yom HaShishi vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzva'am vayechal Elohim b'yom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot b'yom hashvi mekomato asher asa v'varech Elohim et yom hashvi v'kadesh ato ki vosh kavod mikomato asher barai Elohim lasot savrin rabbanan v'rabotai
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'avahu v'ratzon himchilanu zikaram b'mahasei v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta Mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'avahu v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Rabbi Ron, as you get ready to make motzi for us, I'm going to get a little bit closer to the water. Do you have your challah there?
I do.
So I think whenever you're ready to make motzi, and then we'll take a closer look at the ocean, and we will get ready to say Shabbat Shalom to our dear friends at the Jewish home.
Okay, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Baruch atah bevoecha, ubaruch atah b'tzeidecha. A blessing when we came together for this Shabbat celebration, and a blessing as all of you go on your way. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Ron.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody. See you next time. I just wanted everybody to see, including you. I know we already said goodbye, but look how the sun is dropping into the water right underneath the clouds. Can you see that?
Easy Yofi, really nice.
It's gorgeous, really nice. Right? We've seen how bright it is. I don't know if you can see what I can see. Can you? Do you see a big, bright orange light?
It's right up. Yes, right on the horizon, right on the vanishing point.
This is what I wanted everyone to see, because I mean, you know, it's really funny. In 2020, you look in the newspapers, you look on the computer, you look on your Jewish calendar, and it says Shabbat begins tonight at, 4:47 or whatever. Our ancestors didn't pre-calculate the time. If they wanted to know when Shabbat began, they looked out into the horizon, they looked for the sun to set, and they would light their candles just before to make sure that they didn't light once Shabbat had come. And so here we are witnessing together the actual beginning of Shabbat. And it's going to be really just a few minutes. And apparently there's some people who've come. I've been alone on this beach the whole entire time, which has been nice because I haven't had to wear a mask. I have a mask with me, but I haven't had to wear it. Now a couple people are walking by, but that's fine. They're far away from me. And, and here come more seagulls. Rabbi Ron talked about seagulls with me earlier. I think they're coming this way. We might see in just a minute about 1, 2, 3. They're flying as a flock. I think it's 6 or 7 seagulls in formation. Oh, they might turn. Oh, false alarm, they turned. But there goes the sun. Look at that. It's almost Shabbos. It's going to be another, I don't know, probably 5 seconds. Let's be quiet and watch it quietly. Isn't that amazing, Rabbi?
Lovely, lovely.
Now we can really say Shabbat Shalom, because Shabbat is truly here.
Your call canceled.
You can say Shabbat Shalom. I mean, you can say it on Thursday, but I mean, Shabbat has literally just begun. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom Uvarach.
When the sun has set on a Friday night, bringing peace into your home, families will gather all around singing Shabbat Shalom. Everybody sing Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.